Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today is the 19th of August and it is about time that I start the second part of my monthly reading vlog, and this one obviously is for the magical readathon. I am working on my Archmage calling and so far it's not going so super well. In the first vlog, so in the first 2 weeks, I actually only managed to finish one of my 8 books. So I still have 7 books to go, but I by now have finished another one. So I also finished Shorefall by Robert Jackson Bennett. So far I've read Foundryside and Shorefall, and I really enjoyed Shorefall. I really liked it much more than the first book. I gave it 4.5 stars. I thought we got to know the characters so much better, which I really enjoyed. It was very high stakes. It had more of this like found family kind of feel to it, which I really loved. And so yeah, it was definitely an amazing sequel. And I would highly recommend, especially if you already liked Foundryside. So yeah, that's my second book done. So far I have achieved the Distinguished in Alchemy and that's it. I'm working on the last one. I'm forgetting what it's called now. Oh no, I think I mixed it up. I did reach the Qualified, is that the one? And Distinguished is the last one. Okay, so I'm working on the third book for Alchemy right now, which is very surprisingly Locklands by Robert Jackson Bennett. I have started it, but I'm making very slow progress right now because I'm doing lots of other things. But I hope that tomorrow on Sunday I will have lots of time to read. And I'm almost finished with another book, and that is my current audiobook, The Bone Shard Emperor by Andrea Stewart. So I thought I'd get all the like big fantasy books out of the way first, and that's why it looks like I'm not doing great. And honestly, I'm not doing great. I mean, oh well. But yeah, I think I'm about 85% into that one. So I have only a little bit more to listen to and hope I might also finish that in the next few days. And I'm really liking that one as well, even though it is a bit slow. I just wanted it to be a little bit faster paced, I guess. But yeah, I am enjoying it, and I'm a bit scared of the ending because I know that something quite big will happen at the end. But I have no idea what it is. So we'll see. But yeah, I'll definitely update you when I finish that book. But I'm reading all of these for reading vlogs. I'm doing a vlog for the Founders Trilogy. I'm also doing a vlog for the Drowning Empire series. That's where I will talk more in depth about these books. But yeah, now I have to head out because I actually have friends come over. I made a cake. We're gonna have some dinner and it's gonna be so nice. I'm so excited to actually host someone because I love doing it. I love cooking for other people, but I rarely get to do it because I don't have a lot of friends that live close by. So that's what I'm gonna do now, and maybe I can show you some glimpses. We'll see.
White tile on most of the walls, just this nice plain white herringbone.
So today is the 22nd of August, and during the weekend I finished my audiobook. I finished The Bone Shard Emperor by Andrea Stewart. I gave it 4 stars. I do like this series. I think I expected a little bit more from it just because of all the praise that it has gotten. I'm having fun listening to it, but I don't think it does anything like super special. There are still some mysteries that I'm excited to learn about in the final book, but for now I'm taking a little bit of a break to read more of my Magical Readathon TBR. And so the next audiobook I picked up is Chlorine by Jade. This is kind of a literary fiction, but it is also tagged as horror on Goodreads, so we'll see about that. But it's basically about a Chinese American girl who is a swimmer, so she's in a swim team, and it's about her transformation into a mermaid. So I'm very intrigued to see how this plays out. Now, the writing style is quite aggressive, I would say, and also, yeah, just a bit like provocative and stuff like that. So the point where I'm at right now, about an hour into the audiobook, there is discussion about the main character's first period, and I would say if you have not experienced the period before, the way it's written is probably quite gruesome, but in a way I like that because yeah, I think for a lot of girls it is. So yeah, we'll see how I feel about this in the end. It could go either way right now, but I'm intrigued to find out more and let you know what I think. And then with Locklands, I have 100 pages left to read, so I hope I will finish it probably tomorrow. We'll see whether I can do that. But I had a very, very bad migraine the last couple of days. So yesterday I actually called in sick. And so I had more time for reading, which was good in a way, but I would have much preferred not to have a migraine, to be honest. So yeah, 100 pages of that left, and we'll see how it goes. And then I would have read a complete trilogy for this readathon, which is mind-boggling to me. So it is the 23rd of August and I already have another update. Who is this girl? But last night I stayed up late to finish Locklands and it was so good. The ending was so good. And so I decided to give this last book 5 stars actually. I don't know, I didn't have too many 5-star reads this year so far, so I just felt like I'm just gonna give it to the book. But yeah, when I started Foundryside, I never thought this would turn out to be such a good series. But this last book definitely sold it for me. There were so many elements that I enjoyed about this. And then there's also elements that I usually don't enjoy, but they worked in this book. And that is so fantastic. So yeah. Amazing read. The vlog for the whole series will already be up when you watch this video. So if you are interested in all of my thoughts, then definitely go and check it out. But I'm very happy. And so now the next book, my goal for today, is my manga. So I have Sweet Home. This is volume 7 and this is what I will be reading tonight, and we'll see how long that takes me, whether I can actually start another book, and that would then be this collection of like German like myth or like legends, I guess. So yeah, this is for the shield prompt. I had a little bit of a struggle finding a book with a shield on the cover, but this one definitely qualifies. This is a really cool book because it is it was printed in 1969 in the GDR, so it is a little bit of a piece of time as well. But we'll see. Those are like the highest priorities right now. And then already I'm listening to Chlorine. Very intriguing book. Still not quite sure how I feel about it, but I'll update you whenever I make progress in any of these books. So I did finish Chi last night and it was very cute again. I feel like I preferred the first couple of volumes of this manga series just because there was always something to learn about how to take care of a cat, and now that she is growing up, that isn't really the focus anymore, and we more see like the cat shenanigans that she's up to. So I decided to give this 3 stars. It's adorable, it's cute, and I think especially for children, this is just a very sweet manga series. So with that, I'm 3 books away from finishing my calling, and I'm halfway through my audiobook right now. So it's only 2.5 books away from my calling. So I'm very happy about that. I started reading the German Legends book last night. Very interesting as well, let's just say that. These like heroes' tales are just so odd to me. Like there was like one moment when someone was like, oh hey, you want to be a hero? There's like this giant living in the woods and terrorizing this village. Maybe you can take care of him. And the hero person is just like, I know, there's no honor in that. I will just go and fight this other hero person somewhere else. And I'm like, what? Like, isn't that what you're here for? To like save village people? But apparently not. And then there was this other thing where there is this court of like 3 queens and there is 3 guys who are interested in them. And so they talk about this like big hero person, and one of the queens is like, hey, if you can get this hero person to show up here in court, I will marry you. So the one guy leaves and he finds the hero person, starts fighting him, and then finally gets killed by him. And so the hero is like, oh, I'm just gonna take his head and bring it back to that queen, and then I'm gonna show her how she killed that man. And I'm like, no, you killed that man. The queen did nothing. She just challenged him and you killed him. Like, what? But it's always the evil woman. Remember that. So yeah, it was fun times in the like 5th and 6th century in Europe, and I'll keep you updated. So today is the 28th of August. We have a couple of days left of the magical readathon, and I do have a few updates that I wanted to share with you. Now, I did finish 2 books this weekend. The first book I finished was my audiobook Chlorine by Jade Song, and this one was quite an experience, I would say. This is more literary fiction but has a hint of horror to it, and the horror really kicks in the last couple of hours of the audiobook, I would say. So I really enjoyed the beginning of the book, where we learn more about our main character of Rin and how she is a swimmer and she has Chinese parents, and when she's still young her father decides to go back to China because he just wants to fit in and he doesn't feel like he can really fit in the US. And so it's basically Rin and her mother who stay behind, and yeah, we just watch her grow up, how she becomes an athlete, a swimmer, as I said. And we see that from a very early age, she has this obsession with mermaids up to the point where she believes that she truly is a mermaid. And that's why water is so important to her. And then we watch her descent in a way. And as I said, I really like the beginning. I like the themes of this idea that I think is very interesting, very relatable in a way, that when her family leaves China, everyone tells her that she's so lucky that she gets to live in the US and grow up there and have all these opportunities. But when she gets there, she doesn't really feel that. She just wants to go back home. And I think that is something that I've seen in a couple of books now, and I think it's something to really consider. Also how we frame migration, because I think a lot of like anti-migrant hate also comes from this idea that they're coming to our countries, whatever that is, and that they should be lucky to be here and stuff like that. And it's completely zoned out that these people left a home, left their families, and how traumatizing that can be, especially for a young child, to come to a country where they don't speak the language and everyone in school might make fun of them and stuff like that. So yeah, I think just this humanization and this kind of contest to the idea that you're so lucky to migrate to a Western country, I really enjoy that. And as I said, I really like that. But then when the horror comes in, got a little bit interesting, to be honest, and to the point where this is a very angry book, I would say, and rightfully so, but I just struggle with these narratives, and the ending kind of reminded me a little bit of Cherish Farah. That's what it's called, which I didn't like. There is a lot of like obsession and control in that book, and so yeah, there were kind of like similar themes going on there, and so in the end I gave it 3.5 stars. It's not my favorite, it's not the kind of horror that I enjoy, but I think it is a very interesting read, and after having looked at these like hot girl book lists, this one definitely belongs in there, and if you like these kinds of books, I would highly recommend Chlorine. So next up, I finished this book, which I'm not going to talk about for too long, but basically this is German Legends About Heroes. This is kind of like a retelling, making it more understandable for a modern reader, and we have like the most important legends in here, which was very interesting, but the legends themselves are like so repetitive, like the same things keep happening over and over again. There is a beautiful daughter of a king and everyone wants to marry her, but the father says no, nobody is allowed to marry her, so one hero sets out to just take her, and then they fight, and then the king is like, oh, now I recognize you're a hero, so you can have my daughter, or something like that. That happens like 27 times in 6 stories or something. So yeah, we have this like repetition again with like in the beginning, the first legend that is in here. We have this thing where like people set out to fight this great hero, then they fight this great hero, the hero defeats them, but he's like, I like you, so you can be one of my people now. And it happens like again and again and again and again until he has like 10 followers or 12 followers or something like that. So yeah, it was very boring to read, but it was still interesting to just go back to these stories. Now this is called like German legends, and the German here definitely does not relate to Germany as a country today, but more to like the Germans, like, you know, with Rome and stuff, like the Middle Ages, I guess. So it is a very different definition. So we have a lot of stories set in what is now Switzerland or what is now Italy, and Denmark and stuff like that. So yeah, it was interesting but very repetitive. It was a struggle to read, so I gave it 2.5 stars. And there is a very interesting afterword in here that I just wanted to be a foreword or like dispersed as little notes to the legends, because I thought this like knowledge about the legends was more interesting than the legends themselves. So that was a little bit sad. And so now I have started 2 books, an audiobook and a physical read. I'm pretty much halfway through both of these, and they're both targeting the same prompt because I just want to make sure that I at least finish one of those by the end of the month. I'm a bit scared. So the last prompt I have to do is the fire on the cover prompt. So for a physical read, I have started Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste, which clearly has fire on the cover. And this one is very interesting. It's kind of in between like a mystery story and a literary fiction book. We are following 2 families. One is a very rich white family. The other one is a lone mother with her daughter. And they kind of meet in this like perfect town. But then there's kind of this scandal where a family adopted or tries to adopt an Asian child, but then the Chinese mother kind of returns and wants her child back. So this happens quite late in the book, and so I was quite glad that I did not read the back, and I had forgotten about that. So I was just going along with the flow, and then this whole plot thing happens, and then these 2 families are gonna be kind of pitched against each other just because they have different loyalties. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this. Celeste just has the best writing style. I loved her first book, Everything I Never Told You, so much. I gave it 5 stars. So I don't know why it took me so long to read this book, but I'm finally reading it, and it's great. As I said, I'm pretty much halfway through. I was hooked from the first line. The writing is just so great, and these characters are so intriguing, the different relationships that we see in here, and I feel like it's all a little bit different than I expected to go, and I really like that. So yeah, I'm definitely very excited to finish that. I have 200 pages left, so if I read 50 every day now, I will be done by the end of the month with that. But in case that does not work out, I started as an audiobook Fahrenheit 451. This is a reread for me. I read it 5 years ago, and yeah, I got the English audiobook this time. Last time I listened to the German translation, but I'm still really loving it. I was really relieved because I was like, oh, maybe I don't like it anymore. And I'm almost halfway through with that as well. But yeah, there was this little part where it had a little bit of this like cancel culture discussion, which I thought was very interesting. And I think you could definitely if you see it from today's lens, I think it is kind of funny because he talks about minorities and how they try to make media where none of the minorities get offended, basically. And obviously today that would be like a right-wing talking point. But at the same time, I think these right-wing peoples today are kind of a minority that get offended all the time. So then it fits again. But yeah, I could see that depending on the way you wanna, or the way you're standing with the whole cancel culture thing, that this might not be your favorite part. But yeah, it was also written like, what is it now, 70 years ago. So I'm really enjoying it. I think I like it because it looks at this whole idea of intellectuals, and we can see how threatened science and scientists and intellectual people are today, with like all the like misinformation and everything like that. A lot of like discussions about critical race theory, which is so dangerous and we're not allowed to teach it anymore and stuff. So yeah, I still like this book very much. Okay, so that's all I have for now, and I'll update you when I finish books. So today is the 30th of August and I finished another book. Last night I finished Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste and this was such a good book. Like, I flew through it, I was hooked from the first page. I wanted to know what the hell was going on, and yeah, it was just very engaging, very interesting themes. This deals a lot with the question of motherhood, who the real mother of a child is, like in the case of adoption and stuff like that. Also, it deals with abortion, and I must say this is the part where I wished this would have been a little bit different, because as with all the other books that mention abortion, it just perpetuates this cliche of the kind of like fumbling teenager having an abortion, and I just wish we would get a portrayal of a different abortion, like for medical reasons, or because a family already has so many children and they can't or won't have more and stuff like that. So it's just a little bit annoying to just see the same kind of stereotype over and over and over again, when really the reasons for abortions are just so diverse, and the women who go through it are so diverse. And I don't know, I just wish it was portrayed a little bit different here. I think the author really tries to leave the judgment for the reader, so she shows a lot of like dilemmata, but she doesn't really resolve them for you. It's more like making you think about these topics, I guess. But sometimes I do wish for a little bit more guidance on what the author thinks. Also with the like main theme in here, where we have this adoption case of a Chinese baby, and it was adopted by a white family, but the Chinese mother wants the baby back. And also with that one, we see kind of the resolution of the book, but the like moral question is not completely answered there, and I guess you can't answer it, and that's kind of like the thing with this book, that sometimes things are just so complicated that there is no answer to them. But yeah, I had a good time with this. I gave it 5 stars. I would say in my feelings it's more of a 4.75, but I don't do those. So since I don't have a lot of like favorite books of the year, I decided to give this one 5 stars and elevate it to that level, I guess. But yeah, I'm so looking forward to the next book by Celeste, because so far I have given both of her books that I've read 5 stars. So that is a very, very good trend. And I have half an hour left of my audiobook, Fahrenheit 451. So I will finish that today as well and talk more about it tomorrow. And then I think, because now I have finished all of my TBR books for the month, which never happens, and as a treat I will start one of my library books. And I think the one I want to start is Girl, Woman, Other by Bernadine Evaristo. This is a book I feel very unsure about, because the things I have heard about it sound like I won't enjoy it that much, but on the other hand, I could potentially really enjoy this. So I was very happy to find it in the library to give me a chance to just try it out, and we'll see how it goes. I'm intrigued, but also a bit hesitant with that one, but maybe it will turn into a huge surprise, and that would be amazing. So I will not finish that this month, so if you want to hear more about it, you have to come back in September for my vlogs, but I will let you know my final verdict on Fahrenheit 451, and then I will go through all of the Magical Readathon challenges, just showing you how I did it. As of right now, I do not have officially finished my classes, because I still need Fahrenheit 451 for that, but with Little Fires Everywhere I made it fit into a different class, so I took like 1 extra class. But I'll tell you all about that in the next and probably final update. Okay, so I think this will be the last update for this vlog, because last night I did finish Fahrenheit 451, my last book for the Magical Readathon. So I am done. I finished all of the prompts for my calling and one extra prompt. Now in September I will summon the Impling. And I also want to do the library challenge. I don't really count these like points you can get for that, but I still think it's just a fun challenge, and so I want to do those probably in September, but that will be way more chill because I just wanted to concentrate on my calling for this month, and I had a very ambitious plan and I did it, so I'm very happy about that. So quickly for Fahrenheit 451, this was a reread, so I just wanted to see whether I still really like this book, and fortunately I did. I really enjoyed it. I think it's still more of a 4.5 than a 5-star read personally for me, but it's one of my favorite classics. I just really like it. It's definitely my favorite classic dystopian that I've read, so very high praise. Would definitely recommend if you haven't checked it out. I think it's just so easy to listen to or to read because the language, I don't know, it was just very engaging and I just have a great time. I listened to it in German for the first time, I think, and now I listened to it in English, and both were great audiobooks. So yeah, I can only recommend it, and I hope you give it a try. But let's just quickly go over my calling prompts and what I've read, so you have a nice overview, and then we can finish up this vlog. So for the Archmage calling, I needed to read 8 books, and the first subject I had to take was alchemy, and I needed all 3 levels. So we have Alchemy O, which was a first book in a series, and I read Foundry Side by Robert Jackson Bennett, gave it 4 stars. Then we have Alchemy Q, which was to continue a series, and I read Shorefall by Robert Jackson Bennett, and I think I gave it 4.5 stars. And then for Alchemy D, we had to finish a series, and for that I read Locklands by Robert Jackson Bennett, and I gave this one 5 stars. Then the next subject I had to do was Inscription, and I needed 2 levels, but I actually did all 3 in the end, so I have 1 extra one. So for Inscription O, I had to read something from my end of the year TBR, and for that I read The Bone Shard Emperor by Andrea Stewart, and I gave it 4 stars. For Inscription Q, I had Shield on the cover or in the title, so I read this little book with the German legends by Gretel and Wolfgang Hecht, and I gave this one 2.5 stars, I think. And then optionally I read Inscription D, which was not a debut, and for that I counted Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste, which I gave 5 stars. Then the next subject is Spells and Incantations, and I also needed 2 levels for that. So for O, I had to read a manga, and I counted Cheese Sweet Home Volume 7 by Konami Kanata, and this one I gave 3 stars. Then we have Spells and Incantations Q, which was a book with fire on the cover. For that I counted Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. As I just said, I gave it 4.5 stars. And then lastly, I needed an O in Artificery, and that was a gemstone in the title or the author name, and so I read Chlorine by Jade, and I gave this one 3.5 stars. So these were all the books that I have read for the Magical Readathon. I'm so sad it's over in a way, but we do have the like yearly thing and stuff, so it's not quite over for this year. But I had so much fun again. It's my favorite readathon. I'm already so excited for April next year to see how my 3rd year of the Archmage calling will go. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this vlog. Leave a like or a nice comment. I always appreciate those. Let me know how your Magical Readathon went, whether you did any of the fun side stuff like the Impling, or I know that there was like this Dragon Rider thing. I personally didn't want to do that. It doesn't fit my character, but yeah, I would love to hear what you decided to do this August, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye!